Hello everyone and welcome to this video, which is in our Great Engine Game series. I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler and we're taking a look at the game between Koivisto and rofChade, TCEC Season 22 League 1. When I analysed this, I assumed that I would be telling you now that Koivisto had won the League 1 by a distance and had qualified for the Premier Division. But, well, the last few rounds had some amazing turnarounds, and in the end, Slow Chess and rofChade pipped Koivisto to the qualification spots. I mean, these are very fine engines, and I'm sure they're going to cause some upsets in the Premier Division. But yeah, I am a little bit sad that Koivisto missed out, because I think he had played some exquisite chess throughout the whole season so far. So yeah, a little bit sad to see it missing out against the big guys, Stockfish, Leader, and Komodo. But okay, there's still the Cup and the Swiss this season, so hopefully we'll see a lot more great stuff from Koivisto. This game is particularly interesting due to the opening, in actual fact. So we're going to show exactly how that happened. This was a Scandinavian with Queen D6, and after D4, C6. This was the last move of the TCEC book. Now, Queen D6, that's the speciality of Sergei Tivyakov, Russian-born grandmaster who lives in Holland now. And yeah, I mean, it actually featured in a book that Natasha and I wrote, which was Chess for Life. Very nice book that looked at how older players managed to keep their strength. And Sergei was one of our role models, and we noticed that he'd played the Queen D6 Scandinavian almost exclusively in the past 7 years against 1E4. He played something like 110 games, and well, against very strong players, he'd scored an awful lot of points. And it seemed a little bit weird, really. How can you play the same opening time and time again against strong players? I mean, aren't they just going to prepare for you and just start beating you all the time? Well, the interesting thing about it was how flexible Sergei was, because he actually played on the fourth move already a huge number of different move orders. I mean, he played this move c6 that we see in the game. He played knight f6. Afterwards, he played the bishop to f5 or the bishop to g4. He sometimes played plans with g6. He sometimes avoided c6. He sometimes played a6. And actually, you know, when you came to prepare against him, it was, yeah, a little bit of a nightmare. I remember preparing against him at the Oslo Open in 2011, and I thought, wow, Queen D6 against 1E4, how good can this be? But after about 45 minutes of looking at all the things that he did and thinking, oh my goodness, you know, how am I going to remember all this? I just decided to play 1D4 instead. I mean, yeah, he played a better opening. He played the Nimzo Indian against it, but at least I knew what he was going to do. And c6 is one of his interesting wrinkles. I mean, the idea simply is that you're keeping the position of the light squared bishop very flexible. You're avoiding any white possibilities of playing knight b5 and c4. Just, you know, setting up a bit more occupation of the central squares. And you're waiting to see what white does. I mean, if white goes something like knight f3, then bishop g4 can be quite interesting, just pinning that knight. So Koivisto was thinking here and actually came up with two very interesting ideas that haven't really been played very much at the human level. And that's knight e2, which it played in the end, and also bishop e3. Bishop e3 was pretty interesting here. I mean, it just defends the d4 pawn, leaves the queen free, so that white can just move the queen and castle queenside rapidly, and just avoids any of those pins with the bishop on g4. Now you might say, could black just play bishop f5? Wouldn't that be good? But well, in my engine games, Stockfish against Berserk, Stockfish came up with a great concept against this move, which was to play g4, bishop e6, and then g5. And yeah, the idea is the pawn's just stopping the knight on f6 from developing. And when Berserk played h6 just to try and get rid of it, I mean, that looks natural, right? Because h4, hg is impossible because the rook on h1 hangs. Well, after h6, Stockfish went g6. F takes g6, queen d2. So just 3 moves of the g-pawn to damage black's structure, and also make black waste time with the light square bishop as well. And then white's just going to castle queenside and then just start bringing its pieces in. Worked very, very well for Stockfish. So yeah, you know, what can I say? Very, very interesting idea. But knight e2 is also very interesting. It's been played a little bit in human chess, but in general, yeah, hasn't been that popular. Why hasn't it been that popular? Well, just it's this combination of the knight on g3 and the pawn on d4. You know, normally in these sort of positions, black plays stuff like e6 and c5, and you'd really want your knight on f3 in order to come into the outpost on e5. On g3, it looks just a little bit odd. It's but the thing is, of course, you know that the black has actually wasted quite a lot of time. Black's played the queen first to d5, then to d6, then to d8. And yeah, that loss of time should have an effect somewhere. It's just visually, when you just look at it, you know, just for human eyes, you don't really see it, so you tend to assume that black's okay. But yeah, in my games that I ran against my engines, then yeah, I mean it was clear that black you know, had a lot of work to do just to get out of this properly. So just thinking about the move in the game, queen b6 was played by rofChade, which turned out basically to be way too risky, and you'll see how convincingly Koivisto refuted that. In my engine games, bishop e6 was quite popular. This was Berserk's choice against Stockfish, and the game was quite nice. I mean, we got bishop e2, g6, h4, h5, and castles, which was quite interesting. You know, Stockfish not trying to castle queenside, just castling kingside. And I think the big problem for black really is that it's not always easy to say where is black's counterplay coming from. I mean, white's got this weakened kingside to look at. The bishop's coming to d3. We've got rook takes c6 ideas. But what is black really doing? Where is black putting this light square bishop, actually? You know, there's a number of difficult questions like that. And yeah, I mean, in this game, after bishop h6, queen h6, bishop g4, bishop d3, we're already attacking g6. We've got moves like f3 coming in to hit the bishop on g4. You know, eventually the knight e2 can come round to f4. This is just really very unpleasant for black, you know, and Stockfish won very convincingly. Another idea, the move I was kind of thinking of, one of the main moves I was thinking of was just g6. But again, you know, we get this sort of general approach. Queen comes to d2, rooks come to d1 and to e1, and then we just get in h4, you know, and again, black's got to make a difficult decision. Block it with h5, when we'll again do this plan bishop h6, bishop d3, or leave it. In this game, Berserk left it. But again, Stockfish played, you know, quite beautifully. Ignoring this b2 pawn, who cares? Taking, rook e3. Reminds me enormously, actually, of a game that's in the Silicon Road to Chess Improvement, my new book, between Leela and Scorpio, where again, Scorpio took, actually, I think, a couple of hot pawns on the queen side, and just with this rook on the third, Leela transferred all the pieces towards the king side. It was a very impressive game, and well, here we're seeing pretty much the same thing. A3, quite nice from Stockfish, looking to try maybe and trap this black queen. Knight g4, rook f3, knight df6, knight c4, queen b5, queen f4, queen d5, c4, and you know, this is just big Stockfish stuff, really. You just don't want to be on the receiving end of it. Takes, and knight c5, and then the knight came into e6, and queen d4, and you know, and white was in complete control. But again, you know, I think it's you know, this is obviously a stellar play from Stockfish, but again, the power of this setup for white, slightly surprising, but it's also due to the fact that white's got so many extra tempi because black's wasted so much time with the queen, you know, just and then finally the move e6, which yeah, I suppose I would probably want to play the most, but met by knight e4. So using this knight on g3, funnily enough, to come to e4 and stop black from playing c5. Well, it would cost black the bishop pair. Knight d5, bishop d2, and then yeah, Berserk developed in this way. And well, Stockfish just played very, very simply. The d4 pawn, very risky to take that one. But after takes, knight c5, queen f3, and b4, well, Stockfish had just clamped its knight onto c5. No queenside counterplay there, and then we're just getting ready to attack with the on the king side with its pieces. And well, takes, queen h3, bishop c6, bishop g5, threatening takes, and queen h7, h6, bishop takes h6, and well, the attack was launched, and it was just a very unpleasant position for black. And the lovely tactical point actually was that white played this move queen g3 check and rook a6, and actually the queen can't retreat anywhere to defend this this bishop on c6, because this move queen g3 has taken away the c7 square. Very nice. So black played the move, well, gave up the queen like this, but this was very unpleasant after g4. We've just got h4 and g5 coming in, you know, and well, I mean, Stockfish won this very easily. But yeah, I mean, you know, so e6, knight e4 against these g6 plans, you know, just this basic setup: rooks in the center, bishop e2 and h4, and bishop h6 to swap off the dark square bishops. Again, very, very easy, and yeah, looks quite difficult for black. So yeah, very interesting there. So that might well explain why rofChade decided that it needed to do a little bit more than just wait around. But after queen b6, queen d2, well, white's going to castle queenside next. So yeah, rofChade decided that if you said A, you've got to say B and C as well, and took the pawn. And actually quite an interesting moment here. I mean, when I ran the engine matches, neither Berserk nor Stockfish wanted to play Koivisto's next move, which, to be honest, looks unbelievably strong to me. But yeah, you know, after I put Koivisto's move on the board, well, you know, it was still a massive advantage for white. I'm not quite sure why they didn't want to, but Stockfish liked bishop c4, and Berserk wanted to play bishop e2. And Stockfish's idea was simply that it's just saying, well, the advantage in development is so huge, I'm just going to mate black, and well, then proceeded to do so. So yeah, you know, it's possibly very strong as well, but d5 is really so natural. I mean, black's development is awful, and you're just opening up the center already. And I mean, actually, there's some really big threats already. So, for example, if you just said, oh, okay, I'm going to try and just develop my king side, then d takes c6 is completely winning for white. Knight c6, knight b5. I've just got knight c7 check coming in, and b takes c6. the knight on b8 is hanging, amazingly enough. So so yeah, I mean, this is really, I mean, d takes c6 here, it's a really huge threat. Now, I mean, you could try and play yeah, a move like c takes d5, maybe, but yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of ways that these things were winning, really. Queen a3, knight takes d5, takes, knight c6, bishop b5, bishop e6 castles. Don't care about the exchange, we just keep on going. And you know, this was very, very dangerous for black indeed. Knight takes d5 was met just by takes, and bishop b8 in actual fact. Rook b8, bishop b5 check, bishop d7 takes, and now queen takes d5 check is very dangerous, but Stockfish was just saying castles. Queen d6, c4, and in we go. And yeah, Berserk didn't last long against Stockfish from this position. So it's really, really dangerous, this. I mean, there's just not much you can really do about it. rofChade played probably the best move, knight bd7, but got hit by an absolutely beautiful move. Takes. Maybe take a little bit of time just to see how that went. Bishop b5, that's the move. Lovely idea here. So after c takes b5, we've just got knight b5, and then we've got knight c7 check coming in. It's just curtains. So you can't take that one. Yeah, I mean, rofChade went for the desperate approach. Bishop b7 tries to keep it all together. Castles e5. And basically what black's going to try and do is to try and castle queenside there. But I mean, this was what Berserk was trying to do as black all the time, but basically Stockfish just took his as an example, as a little bit of an excuse to show how to carve up somebody's weak king position here. So Queen e2 played, not worrying at all about this. Knight on c3, h5, rook d1, not bothering at all. Queen c3, bishop a6. That's what Stockfish wanted. Just exchange of light squared bishops, get into there. So knight c5 takes, bishop b7, getting the piece back. King c7, bishop takes c6, just opening up the king side further. Here we've got queen b5 check just to start with. h4, knight f5, king c6, bishop d2. Queen a3, queen e5, even more sneaky. And yeah, I mean, why is it actually even better to come to do this and win this e5 pawn? Well, you've got knight d4 check. By taking the pawn, you've freed the square for the knight. So this knight is now joining the party as well. Rook h5, queen b8, queen a6, just desperately trying to cover these squares. Knight d4 check, bishop e3. Knight d7, queen a8. Amazing actually how hard it is to put it away, but you just keep on you keep on changing the angle of attack with white, and every time the black king's in the firing line. So queen c4, rook d1, g5, h3, nice and calm. I mean, we've got lots of discovered attacks. The king comes back and then a discovered attack. Just not easy to see how it's going there. But this is an absolutely gorgeous move, which just made me burst out laughing, really. It's this move, bishop c1. The idea being just to go bishop b2. We're just teeing up now. A huge discovered attack here. And after king d6, queen b7, stop the king escaping to the queen side. We've got ideas of knight f5 check now. Here a3, and again, it's amazing engine play, right? I mean, just that you're vaguely surviving in this position, but at some stage it all falls apart. A takes b4, queen e6, ba, and this pawn's a runner all the way. But I love this idea of just going, bishop c1 here. Just no worries, just bishop b2, and then you're also, of course, getting the e-file free as well, which is why black played bishop b4. So yeah, I mean, black is in desperate straits after bishop b5, and e5 was played, takes, but then knight e2, and yeah, the black's big problem is this rook on a8 is gone. So rook b8 allows rook takes b8, and we've got this pin, of course, and that just means that black's going to lose the exchange. And I mean, I consider this position to be just completely lost, and I'll just show a few more moves of Koivisto, rofChade, but yeah, rofChade didn't manage at all. The amazing thing was that Stockfish even was able to hold a number of this position a number of times against Berserk. It lost some too, but it held some too, which I thought was nigh on impossible. What Stockfish was doing was playing f3, just to damage this pawn structure, and then castling queenside, and then bringing the queen back, and then playing on as if nothing had happened. And well, you're the exchange and a pawn down as black, but you do have the two bishops, slightly weak white kingside there. And yeah, amazingly enough, Stockfish was managing to hold this. It's just yeah, you do wonder in division P. I mean, the book exits are very biased, but is anyone really going to be able to beat Stockfish? Just looks impossible in these engine matches I'm running. But anyway, knight e2, this was the game. Bishop b4, bishop a8, rook b3, a3, chasing the bishop back, queen takes f4. So you've managed to get your pawn as well on top of your exchange, but your kingside hasn't been damaged. And after rook e8 castles, then well, once you've got your king to safety, your pieces are still a little bit awkward, but it's not going to take long to win that. And Koivisto made no mistake there. So there we are. I hope that was interesting. It was quite the main points of the game were sort of concentrated around the early opening phase. I have to say, if you're a white player, then I think the engines in bishop e3 and knight e2, they found some very interesting stuff against this queen d6 Scandinavian, which is still very popular for black. Yeah, for me, the particularly interesting thing was, just from a intuitive point of view, I was thinking, oh, knight g3 in this structure, it's not going to be that great, is it? But yeah, I mean, what Koivisto showed in the game, and also what Stockfish and Berserk showed in the engine matches I ran, it seemed to be really dangerous. And in particular, I like very much, that hadn't really occurred to me that this structure could be so dangerous for black. But actually, it just looked very, very difficult indeed. And well, if you can just sort of do stuff like this, very simple means, castle kingside, don't need to castle queenside, give black a target there. If you can just, with very simple means, just get a clear advantage with no risk, then why not? Yeah, and this seems like very, very clear. So a lot of interesting theoretical stuff, and again, a lovely attacking idea, bishop b5 from Koivisto. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that game. If you enjoyed it, why not give a like or even subscribe to the channel. We've got Division P coming up, so plenty more games to come on this channel. And yeah, otherwise also take a look maybe at my new book, The Silicon Road to Chess Improvement, which has got massive analysis like this of some quite amazing engine games. Just the treasure trove of the TCEC that the best games ever played that nobody knows about. So do take a look at that, but otherwise, thanks very much for watching, keep safe, and hopefully see you at the next video.